thank you all for coming this evening. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Verification of notice?
The meeting was duly noticed.
Great, thank you. Public comment? Would anyone like to come up? Joan Fitzgerald, our state representative.
I don't want to jump in front of anybody, but if no one else is. So I'm Representative Joan Fitzgerald, the state assembly rep from this area. So I've been coming out to town, village, city meetings, just kind of making sure I connected with people, introduced myself in case people didn't know who I was. And then I brought for you guys today just a little handout about the state budget and how some of those things might impact you or your constituents. So you can just kind of take a look at that. The top part there are some of the grant programs that have been available to local municipalities. I know you guys are aware of those, and I've talked with the town board chair, Laura Payne, a little bit about those as well. We're really hoping the local projects program, we've had a variety of things in this area apply for that grant. So we're really hoping to get some of that money into this area. The Lake Mills Library, the Base Community Center in Fort Atkinson, the free clinic in Jefferson County applied, just a variety of them around the area. So hopefully that will happen. In the middle there, I just highlighted some of the big ticket items in the state budget in case you were curious or if you get questions or constituents want to know about that. A couple really big things in there, obviously, is the $1.4 billion for revenue for schools. Unfortunately, there's, kind of good and bad that came with that. Some of that has been in the news lately. I put in here, it said includes funding for 42% special ed reimbursement. Turned out not to be 42%. They put a chunk of money in there as expenses went up. School districts were just notified that it's really only 35% reimbursement, not the 42% as promised in the state budget. So I think especially at this time of the year, as people are getting their tax bills, and I think you probably, just like me, hear some of that from constituents about rising property taxes. Schools are obviously a part of that. So it seems like a lot of money, but it didn't go as far as we thought it would. And then the other really big item in there was the $1.5 billion in tax relief. We did have, the state had a $4 billion surplus kind of built up through COVID, and it was just kind of building up all that time. So that surplus is pretty much spent down now. 1.5 billion of that you will see as two kinds of tax relief, retiree income, and then the tax brackets changed a little bit. So many people will get it says here, an average of $180 tax break when you do your taxes this April. So if people ask about sort of the surplus, that was a big chunk of it. I think the other probably big chunk, we have not spent any money really on building projects for the UW system for many years. So you'll see 840 million there. That's kind of to pick up the things that haven't been funded for a while. So that's why that's such a big number. That's not usually that large. At the bottom there are just a couple of things that are coming up or things that we've introduced that might be of interest to you. I hear a lot from people in my district about the Knowles Nelson Stewardship Program that is still unfunded. We can't seem to come to any agreement on where to go with that. So that is still being worked on. We're hoping something will happen. We'll see about that. We've also just introduced a variety of other bills there. The one that might interest you guys is the local government funding bill package. The Democrats introduced some bills on doesn't necessarily affect you, but TIF and TID reform for villages and cities. One thing that is of interest, I think, in there, well, two things I'll say. One, we proposed that the shared revenue formula would be revisited every 10 years and adjusted to make sure that that still met people's needs. So we'd like to set up some sort of council commission to do that. I think that would be helpful for a lot. We've heard from a fair amount of municipalities that they would like that looked at. And then the other thing we proposed was letting local municipalities have their own sales tax as a way to generate revenue, strictly optional, up to 0.5% if people wanted to. We heard from a lot of municipalities that the ability to generate revenue is really limited. And so any help we could give you on finding ways to generate revenue that wouldn't be just raising property taxes would be helpful. So under no illusion that the Republicans will join us on those, but they're good bills. I really hope they do. So we'll see where that goes. Working hard on that. And then there is some ag bills, and every week there are continual rollouts. So I guess kind of what I want to make sure I sort of left with all of you is that when you hear things in the news or you have a question about a bill, or maybe you think we should be doing something, I gave you a card there that has all my contact information on it, so that feel free to email me, or you can funnel questions through the town board chair if that's easier, more helpful. I'm certainly here to help you, to answer questions, to be a resource. So if there's ever anything my office can do, feel free to give us a call or send an email. I'm certainly happy to help. So just wanted to make sure we got that out to everyone. So I'll hang around for a little bit, see what's going on in the town, but let me know if you guys have any questions.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to make public comment? Okay, seeing none, we will move on. Approval of the minutes from November 18th. We have two. We have the electors meeting to approve the tax levy, and also November 18th, the town board meeting that followed the electors meeting.
Do you need the electors meeting first, or?
Let's do the electors meeting first.
Okay. I'll move to approve the town electors meeting minutes from November 18th, 2025.
I can second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of approval of the town electors meeting on November 18th? No, November 18th, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll move on to the monthly town board meetings on the same day.
I just have a couple of, I think, typos.
Okay.
The second sentence, also present where clerk treasurer DeCencio A, what is it? Is it supposed to say and you, Wendy?
I don't know if that maybe got cut off or not. I can definitely go ahead and change that, though. Saw present work clerk. Probably.
Because then we go and talk about you later on, but you.
Right. So you want me to put and Wendy Tangway?
And then just a couple other typos. Jeff Shield, Jeff is spelled wrong on the bottom of the first.
Oh, I see it.
Oh, yeah, missing enough.
And did he say that it was $6,000 each time, or did he say 5,000? I know he talked about 5,000 is what he spent before.
We said 6,000.
Yeah, he was
Okay.
saying 6,000 and then 5 times was what he had proposed during
Yes.
the year.
Okay, and then under announcements, Jefferson Fire Department.
I told you, and it's so funny because Susan went through these twice because we had to have a draft copy of the minutes in order to do the loans, so it's just funny that you can run through spell check and
Yeah.
2 sets of eyes and still miss things, but
Yeah.
I can get those changed.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. Anything else?
I'll move to approve the minutes of November 18th, 2025 Town Board meeting with the corrections.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of the meeting minutes amended as discussed, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Minutes are approved. We have on here fire and EMS chief's update. I was informed today that they wouldn't be able to attend because they have other meetings at their cities tonight to discuss their business there. So
We
move on.
did attend the Jefferson Fire and EMS meeting,
Yes, we did.
but he was going to send us a corrected copy of the final. Remember, there was a mistake on the numbers at the end of that
Yes.
first copy, and I haven't gotten anything from him yet.
No. As soon as we get something, we'll have Wendy send that out.
Yeah, that's for the 2026 budget.
For the Jefferson Fire Department.
Jefferson 2026 budget, okay.
But nothing has been received yet.
Right.
I'm just going to make a note to watch for it.
Okay. Okay. We'll move on to discussion and possible action on Lake Ripley boat launch improvements. Justin Gutowski from Strand Engineering is here. Why don't you come up, Justin? He's here to go over for members of the public. We have approved moving forward with a 60% design for a new boat launch, and then we will go for some grants. And so we're here to discuss the changes that we would like to include, and Justin is proposing, but we can discuss it further.
Yeah, so thanks for having me. My name is Justin Gutowski with Strand Associates. I'm a civil engineer in Madison, Wisconsin here, and we were hired by the town to assist with the Lake Ripley Boat Launch Improvements Project back in August. So I think in the packet, everyone maybe has gotten a GIS figure that kind of looks like this. And then I think I sent Laura like a plan profile drawing, something kind of like this.
Yes.
So what I can do here is maybe just go over the exhibit and kind of talk about the project, where we're at so far, and kind of moving forward. So as I said, back in August, we were hired by the town. In October, we went out and kind of surveyed the project area. The town wanted to look to basically make improvements to the boat launch and a portion of Island Lane, based on some of the pavement conditions and things out there. I did do a site visit with Laura, Leon Spencer, the Lake District Manager, and then also Jeff Scheel. I think it was back in April. I took a bunch of pictures, kind of talked about things we could do and possible improvements. So what we did over the last couple of months after we got the survey is look at what we got here, look at the layout, looking for ways to improve accessibility, turning movements near the boat launch by the lake, some of the launch improvements. So that's kind of what this exhibit is showing. Maybe I can just go through some of those items here. And I can first start at Island Lane. So the boat launch is at the end of Island Lane. And when we went out there, we kind of looked at the pavement conditions. If anybody's familiar with the area, near the, I would say about 600 feet southwest of the boat launch area, there's kind of a bump out area. So we're looking to make basically pavement improvements from that area all the way heading to the lake. This would include basically replacing the base course material of Island Lane and then the pavement as well. There's a lot of alligator cracking, longitudinal cracking. Pavement's in pretty bad condition. So that would be part of this project. The layout would still provide two 11-foot drive lanes going in each direction. And then also 50-foot by 9-foot wide parking stalls, which would really match the existing conditions. There's pavement markings out there today with the same dimensions of the parking stalls. But that would really accommodate a large trailer and boat setup. Basically a 30-foot long, like it could accommodate a 25 to 30-foot large trailer and then a large truck as well. So we did look into angle parking, just that would kind of make things easier as far as backing trailers into spots. But with the tight existing footprint of the pavement, it's really hard to kind of navigate in there, and we want to match that existing pavement width. So we kept the parking on both sides of Island Lane, facing, I guess I would call it north-south as it does today. Some things we did talk about when we were out there is including at the pavement edge, like a 2-foot wide gravel shoulder. A lot of times when boats and trailers, you know, they park, sometimes they might go off the pavement a little bit. And there's existing rutting at the edge of pavement where there's grass today. So providing like a 2-foot wide gravel shoulder would allow for, you know, if cars or trucks did veer off the pavement, a little bit more support of the pavement edge as well. And just some room to navigate. It's people are getting in and out of the vehicles on the outside edges of the road. So we're looking at that as well. And that kind of describes the pavement. The pavement near the actual boat launch, we were able to like widen out. So we looked at turning movements. We're able to kind of model turning movements based on trailer size, trailer length, and also truck size. And then we also, you know, we use the Design Handbook for Recreational Boating and Fishing Facilities document by the state's Organization for Boating Access, also known as SOBA. They have a lot of good design guidelines in there. So we're able to widen out the pavement in that area to accommodate, again, a large, basically a large truck and a large trailer to make a full turnaround at the end. There's 2 circles on this exhibit that kind of show basically the turning radius. In the bottom left corner, there's also a little, I guess, a little diagram of the path of the overhang and the path of the left front wheel and the rear trailer wheel as well. Just kind of showing they can make that turning movement. So this would allow vehicles to kind of enter in on the south side, or I would say east side of the road, make a turning movement, make that turning movement, and then back up into the launch, pushing the actual boat launch on the west side of, I would say, Island Lane. So those are some of the accessibility improvements we looked at to make. And then, like I said, we moved the boat launch more to the west side. We talked to Liana about widening out. We initially had a kind of a smaller footprint of the launch, but we widened out to 16 feet to accommodate the Lake District's harvester. I think they only really put it in the water in the lake once and take it out in the fall. But we made the pavement wide enough so to accommodate the trailer and for the harvester to get in and out as well. And then next to the boat launch, we include a permanent 6-foot wide pier with a gangway and floating dock. So this would allow, today I know there's a temporary pier out there, and the town talked about having more of a permanent structure out there. We'll have to remove it, put it in, take it out, you know, throughout the year. So basically this would allow to keep the floating pier in all year long, and it fluctuates with the lake level. So essentially the gangway would fluctuate with a more of a permanent structure near the actual pavement. And then the floating pier would fluctuate, like I said, with the lake levels throughout the year. And then as you, I guess, moved to the east of the launch, we talked about including a paddlecraft access for boat crafts such as canoes, kayaks, and also paddle boards on the west side. And that, we haven't gotten the details of that, but we provided, I guess, an area for that. And then west of that, moving the temporary toilets to the west side of the launch area or of Island Lane, and then also a dumpster area that could be fenced in as well. So some things are kind of getting moved around to help with accessibility. Also, there's an existing light pole that we would move between the pier and I guess you could say the paddlecraft access, or the green space as well. So we included green space just west of the paddlecraft access. There's some open space there. We talked about adding a couple picnic tables for people to just kind of have a lunch or just sit by the lake, since there was a little bit of available open space in that area as well. What else here? So there's also two existing high water marks on the current boat launch. And those would be reestablished either after or during construction. I know that's used by the Lake District when the water level gets up to a certain point for no wake conditions. So those two markers would be relocated. And then along with that light pole being relocated, we could also relocate some of the signage as that area on the west side is kind of getting taken over by some of the pavement for some of those turning movements. So, and then the last thing I wanted to mention too about the improvements, there's a pretty large scour hole at the end of the existing launch, and that could be filled in as well as part of this construction while they're putting in the permanent new launch. And if you do take a look at the plan profile exhibit as well, I guess I can mention if we do show the proposed profile of the new launch. We do flatten it out to 10% a little bit to help with, I guess, loading in boats into the lake. One big part of this project is that we're assisting the town with grant applications too. There's two grants that can be, I guess, applied for funding for the project. I've had a lot of correspondence with the DNR on both these grants. The first one would be the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Grant, Sport Fish Restoration Boat Access Grant. It's actually a federal grant, but it's administered by the DNR. And that grant application is due February 1st of next year, of 2026. And there's about $125,000 of funding available statewide. It takes about a year to kind of process since it's a federal grant. So you'd apply for it in February. It would be voted or reviewed at the state level, then it goes to the federal level. And then I believe the award you'd be notified of getting the award sometime in late summer, early fall. And then it'd be processed by the following year in 2027. One big component of this grant is accessibility, like I said. So they're looking at, handicapped accessible parking stalls, which we would include. We'd probably designate a stall closest to the lake as handicapped accessible. The actual pier, including things on the pier such as, guardrails, railings, slip resistant, like a treading on the boat launch, and slip resistant type of surfaces on the pier and paddle access craft as well. So those are kind of things that they look at when they're looking, scoring these type of projects. Also just having restrooms and things like that. That's actually kind of one of the things they look at. So it's the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Grant, Sport Fish Restoration Grant that we applied for in February. The other grant we would apply for would be the DNR Recreational Boating Grant. This deadline would be June 1st of 2026. So once grants are submitted, there's then a Waterways Commission meeting in the second week of August where they basically invite all the projects, people that submitted a project, to kind of give a brief presentation, and then they vote on which projects to choose to get funded in August. And then that once I guess the grants are awarded, it'd be as soon as next September, and you can get advance payment for any of the, any expenses incurred up to that point, probably by the second week of September, they're telling me. And as far as things that can get funded is for the grant, again, it can be the construction of the actual project, but also engineering, like what we're doing right now, it can be retroactively funded through the grants. And then construction itself. So once if the project was awarded that grant, they'd have 3 years to use the funds for the project. So Those are things we're working on now. Yeah, and I guess I could talk about some of the ranking criteria for the RBF grant too. One of the item, I can just go through the 6 criteria, is demand for safe boating facilities. So making improvements like we are here, improving the pavement is considered increasing the safety of the boating facility. Like the turning movements at the end of the near the lake, and then also just adding in ADA accessible piers and things like that. They do look at existing facilities along the lake. Since this is the only public boat launch, the feedback I got, it would score really well because there's really no other public access to the lake. So there was good feedback from the DNR on that. They look at how the projects, like if they're shovel ready. One thing they look at when you submit the grant is like you have a good, you have survey, you have some design put together. So when we submit the grant, we're looking to have like a 60% design, I say. So it's not, all the details aren't worked out yet, but they look at, you have the survey, you have construction drawings, this thing can be ready to go, if approved, which we would have it at that point. And then another thing again is the ADA compliant with this grant as well. That's a big criteria for both these grants. So, and then up to 50% of the project could be funded by this project or by this grant. So yeah, that's I guess the grants that we're looking to apply for this project as well. Maybe I can just stop there and ask if there's any questions on what I've gone through so far. I know it's a lot of information, but I know you may have just gotten a first chance to look at this right now. So yeah.
Question about the ramp itself. In
Yep.
other words, the cement that goes out into the water.
Yep.
Currently, as you know or you've seen, when you're backing up, you get to a certain point and the trailer falls off the ramp and drops into that hole. Now, you talked about filling the hole, but how far can you go out with the actual ramp so that doesn't happen or continue to happen? Because those
Yep.
holes are created from the power loading.
They are, yeah. So we would extend it,
It doesn't say that on here. Right.
Well, there is a length of it. We'd extend it out about 60 feet. It'd go, I'd say about 10 feet past the existing launch today. Again, yeah, they would look to fill in part of that scour hole. And what I noticed too out there is actually there's a lot of eroding at the edge of the pavement of the launch. And that would all be filled in around it too with compacted gravel. So it would kind of deter that from happening in the future as well. But yeah, we'd extend it out about 60 feet. We currently just show it right now at a 10% to flatten that slope out a little bit, but extend about 10 to 15 feet past the existing launch today.
Okay.
Yep.
So reducing the angle of the slope plus the extension should solve a lot of the power loading problems.
Yeah, it should. It should help out quite a bit. Yeah.
So did you say for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Grant, how much is that? Did you say-
Statewide, they have $125,000, and they divvy it up depending on how many projects are submitted.
Oh, okay.
Last grant cycle, based on the feedback I got, there wasn't a ton of projects submitted, so they were able to, allocate more funds to, a limited smaller amount of projects. So it kind of depends on, I guess, the demand on what's out there. They don't fund all the projects either, but if there's enough out there that are eligible and they feel are a good fit for the money, then they fund it. So.
And then so you don't really know until you're
Yeah.
accepting. Okay.
They did say to check in at the beginning of the new year, just to kind of see, and they can maybe give an update on that amount as well. So.
Okay.
Does anyone else have any questions?
Fire departments were talking about a dry hydrant. Was that considered here at all?
That could be, yeah. Like I said, there's some open space between the proposed permanent pier and the paddlecraft access. So that's an area where we could look to put a dry hydrant,
Would the trucks be able to get in there and turn around?
I think like a fire truck, they'd probably have to use part of the Boy Scout camp, to kind of pull in. We could actually look at the turning movements for that. We didn't run that fire truck turning movement, but that's something I actually could probably look at. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to make that full turn, but now that I think about it,
Because you're going to have parked cars and trailers in
Yeah.
there.
I don't
Yep.
know if this is a spot that they wanted, just because
Sure.
it can be quite busy down there.
Yeah.
And if they're pumping, it could be a danger in itself. So my understanding was they didn't feel that this was the best location for that,
Okay.
but we can discuss that with them again
Right.
and see if they've thought about it.
I
Yeah,
think
and
they
if they
were
want us
thinking
to-
more on the other side of the lake.
Yeah, we talked about having it at
That's right.
the public pier that we have
That's right.
on the other side.
Yep, we did, yeah, I remember we talked about that as
Mhm.
well, but,
There's the depth issues over there.
There is the depth issue
We'd have-
over
we'd have to
there.
go out so far that
Mhm.
yeah. It is fairly shallow here too. I mean, the water currently, is only a few feet deep at the edge of the launch and for a certain distance. But that's something we have a discussion with them too, if they want us to look at that, we could look at that.
Okay, we'll have to
It's good to
revisit
keep
that.
it in mind.
Right. The other issue that they do have, for instance, on Rock Lake, is that it can be hit.
Hmm.
So we need to protect it. So with all of the vehicles in there,
Yeah,
might be hit more
right.
frequently, and we don't want that.
That's a good point. Yep, yep.
But it's a good idea if it would work.
Right, yeah, I mean, we could maybe look at a couple things too. You'd probably try to deter traffic between the paddlecraft access and the permanent pier, but we'd have to look at how far out that it would go as well. So there's a couple things we probably have to consider when looking at that, so.
Okay.
But the more population is on the other side. of the
Yes.
lake.
Well, it's such a long road to go down to get to the water, it's
Yeah,
the
that was
stretch
another
is
problem.
quite a long stretch to get down to the lake from there.
Yeah,
Right.
one way in, one way out,
Right.
so, yeah.
And another option we can have that the fire chief is looking into is a high-capacity well.
A what?
High-capacity
Oh,
well.
yeah.
So that's something that he is asking some contractors about, to see the potential
Mhm.
cost of that as well.
Yep.
We could do that on site here, maybe?
Yes.
But if we do it in this project, then it's covered by funding possibly, right? By grant funding? If
We'd have to look at the high capacity well portion of it. I don't know if that would be covered by the grant, as it's not technically probably part of the, recreational boating facility. But, that's something I could ask them on.
But if it was at the location that we're talking about, it's possible,
If the dry hydrant.
The dry
is-
hydrant?
Oh, the dry hydrant could be, yeah.
that could be included in the project?
Yeah, and I mean, if you do it at the same time as the project, you're gonna save on like mobility costs and things like that, for
That's why-
mobilization costs.
That's why I even brought it up, because if you're overlook it and then say, let's put it in afterwards.
Right, yeah, if
Right.
you're gonna do it, you wanna do it as part of the project for sure, so.
Okay, so I will revisit that with the two chiefs. Lake Mills, which is mostly around the lake, but Fort Atkinson does also service part of the lake
Yeah.
and the area,
Yep,
and see what they feel is best.
okay, yeah, that sounds good.
That first location we looked at up by the public, our pier up there, our dock, by the old Arbor Dell.
Right. The issue is that it's really shallow and you have to extend it very far.
Mhm.
But it sounds like this would be the case here as well.
Yeah, it probably would be, I think, so, and again, like you said, it's highly trafficked with just boat crafts, so we'd have to probably look at how far we'd extend it out and the impact on, boat craft and things like that,
Mhm.
so.
Can we move forward with the rest of the design without having any final thoughts on the dry hydrant? As far as?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, if everyone's good with the layout and how things are set up, again, this is conceptual. We'll have more details as we move forward with the design as far as like, construction details on the boat launch and the boat launch itself too, it's gonna be concrete, but it could be like concrete precast panels or cast in place.
Yeah.
There's different options too for like the floating pier and things like that, but those are all details. But, as long as like everyone's fine with the actual layout and how things look, then we get approval on that, we can kind of move forward with design. So, yeah.
Okay. So then would anyone like to make any other suggestions regarding the layout?
Can you launch from both sides of the pier or just from the one?
We would just be on the west side of the pier. Yep.
Is there a possible way where you could launch from both sides of the pier? Because that's what you see at most launches, and that's gonna allow the capacity to be much cleaner.
Yeah, we try to restrict it to one, one trailer at a time, just based on the limited amount of space at the end there. If we did have two, it could get kind of busy there, and there's only room really for one trailer to kind of go in and out. So that's why we limited it to just the west side.
Okay, so we just have space limitations with that.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Okay. Well, I like the idea, Justin and I talked about the idea of the paddle craft launch, because we do want to make sure that citizens can access it, just not people who have motorized boats. But there are
Right.
quite a bit of kayaks and canoes that use the lake. And it's
Yeah.
important, I think, that they are able to access at this point as well.
Yeah, I agree, and it keeps some separation between the two,
Mhm.
where you could safely do the canoes and kayaks on the east side, and then still keep the motorized boats on the west side, and not cause any backup or things like that. So, yeah, it would accommodate all the paddlers on the lake as well, which I think would be a benefit to the community.
Looks like a good start.
Yeah, so we would need to have a motion to have Strand continue with the design if we agree that this is the way we want to move forward.
Okay, so explain what do you
Would-
actually need?
would-
Continue with the design, what do you mean?
Well,
Yeah,
do more of the engineering drawings and so forth with this and get,
Yeah, what we're looking to do here is kind of, right now this is conceptual layout. We'll actually put construction drawings together, like almost like a bid document. But we only take it about, I say 60%, not fully design it. In preparation of the grant submittal February 1st, because that will help score the grant better. It's showing that, the town's all in on this. They're hired an engineer to design it. It'd be ready to go if approved, and they can, it's more of like a commitment type of a piece. And they look at to have that in hand, and that would go a long way with the grant application. So we would basically move forward and start putting construction drawings together, and in preparation of the February 1st grant submittal. So, and that's a part of our task order we already have approved by the
right.
town. So
And we have it in our 2026 budget to complete that.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'll make a motion to approve Strand to move forward with the boat launch design, engineering.
Perfect. Would anyone like to second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any further discussion?
What was the cost of that again?
The total cost of the project.
No, just what we're talking about now, this piece of it.
It was $42,000 total.
Yep. And that's to basically get the 60% design done, do all the grant submittals. We already did the survey for it, so, and then, attend the grant meeting too in August, and then kind of get it through that process, so.
Yeah, you would handle all of that.
Yes, yeah, we would do all of it, yeah.
Yeah, that was in our proposal, so that's all written down.
Yep, it's all in the task order, so.
Okay, we have a motion and second. All in favor of approval of moving forward with the boat launch, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks. Yeah.
He's going to stay here for a couple minutes. We have a couple more on here, if you don't mind, in case anyone has some questions for you.
Oh, yeah.
So discussion and possible action on geotechnical proposals for Lake Ripley boat launch. So why don't you explain what you will need?
Oh, yeah, so as part of the design too, we need to get geotechnical services done, just to basically complete soil borings. They do soil testing, so we can design the boat launch, like the thickness of the actual launch, design the concrete thick enough. They'll take a boring out in the lake, and they would take 2 borings in the road so we could design the road properly. That would analyze the sub-base material and make sure we have the right pavement thickness for the new portion of the road that's gonna get redone. So the boring in the lake would then help determine, like, you know, for the permanent pier, how deep the pile would have to go. So part of the services that we provide were to put a procurement letter out to obtain geotechnical services from a geotechnical engineer. Since Strand doesn't provide that service, we're just civil. So we sent a procurement letter out to 3 local firms, ECS Midwest, CGC Consultants, and then SES, to help with the geotechnical services. We got one proposal back from ECS Midwest for $57.50, and again, the services would include field exploration, which would be soil borings, measuring groundwater, grabbing samples, the lab services for the soil classification, strength of soil, and then the penetrometer resistance testing needed, and then the environmental screening for PID detection, any contaminated soils. And then they submitted engineering report that summarizes the services completed as well. So we would take that and then basically use that information to help finalize our design of the boat launch itself, and then also the roadway design.
So this isn't part of your contract? Your
No,
estimate?
we'd
This
have
isn't
to
part of
sub-
the 42,000?
No, it'd be an additional like 5,700, yeah. Because we don't do the geotechnical services. We usually sub that out. So
Understood, I just thought you would put a range in there and make it part of one document.
yeah, we did
That's the way
estimate
I
that it'd be
would
between,
consider.
yeah, it'd be between 5,000 and 10,000. So with it being on the lower range, I was actually surprised by that, which was good. Thought it'd be a little bit more based on the you know, getting a boring in the lake and stuff, but they told me they could do it in the winter time when the lake's frozen, so it kind of helps with mobility and things like that, so, or mobilization, so.
And these expenses are also grant
They are
eligible?
grant eligible, yep, both the geotech and the engineering to do the work, yep.
Hope you have a good grant writing abilities.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. I do want to mention, we've applied for this grant numerous times for different boat launches similar to this, so.
Yep.
We work with the DNR
Like
quite a bit
lawyer
on these things, so.
And only one of the 3 submitted
They did,
a
yeah,
proposal.
ECS,
But
yep.
this is a good firm that you've worked with
We work with them
bit.
quite a bit, yeah. I only sent it to the 3 that we typically work with, 2 in the area, so,
So does it, the hourly costs below that 57.50 amount on this, are the hourly costs included in the 57.50?
Yeah, that's included,
So this
yep.
is a total.
For all the services that they would provide, it'd be $57.50, correct?
Do we have that in our budget, or just the 42,000?
I believe we just have the 42,000. I think we were under the impression that this was included in the
Okay,
42,000.
And the grant cover, how much does the grant cover if it's?
It would
If
cover
we get
50% of the project.
If we
Sometimes
get
they go
it.
more based on the number of projects
place that
submitted,
bet.
so. But yeah, 50% is typically what you get for the RBF. And then the other grant would help fund a portion of the other half of the project too. So, it depends on how much money they allow. They have $125,000 for the US Fish and Wildlife grant. So that would fund a certain percentage as well, in addition to the RBF grant that would fund 50%.
So we can apply for both grants?
Yes,
Yes.
yep, you kind of be strategic and apply for both, yeah.
And we have to do this portion of it.
Yeah, for design of the pavement structure and the boat launch, like thickness and things like that, yeah.
Well, I think to a good point, it seems like there was some confusion on where that cost would lie. It sounds like some of the board members may have thought it was included in the original quote, so this is kind of a shock, it sounds like, so.
Okay, yeah.
This is why we're talking about it probably a little bit longer than normal.
Yep, nope, that's understandable, yeah. Yeah, our engineering services, just for Strand, was about 42, and then, yeah, the additional geotech was, 5750, so.
So
Where
from a
would-
budgeting standpoint, we've assumed no grants, correct?
For now, yes. For the,
For 26?
yes.
Where would we get the 5750 from?
Treasurer.
Your checkbook, just like
I
everything
would
else
have to
comes.
go and look, Joy, to be quite honest with you. Yeah, I would have to go look and get back to you at the next meeting, probably.
You know, potentially, I think we could take it out of the road project, since this is partially a road that we will be
Yeah.
reconstructing.
Well, that's a good point. We put a lot of extra money into the road budget this last year, so
Mhm.
that is a good point.
I think
This is
that would
portion of a
be,
road here.
I think that would be appropriate for us to do that.
I would agree. That would be a way we could get it done. Otherwise, we've approved one motion to approve the other one, and now we're
Right.
sitting here with this, so.
We can't
Do
move
one
forward
without
with the other.
Correct. So I agree, using the road budget would make sense here then.
Okay.
I will make a motion to approve the geotechnical proposal for the boat launch at $5,750
Okay.
with funding to come out of the road budget.
Second?
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the geotechnical proposal with funding taken out of the road budget? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, so our last agenda item for Strand is number 8, discussion of possible action on Strand Amendment Number 1 to Task Order Number 25-01. So that is a task order that we approved last year, and it was for an as-needed basis, and that is for the subdivision. So Strand has reviewed those designs and the final plat and all the necessary documentation, and then we get reimbursed from the developer. So we have reached that limit, and we just need to extend that. Again, that's nothing that we need to take out of our budget, because it will be reimbursed.
For this development.
Right. So that's basically what it is. It was changed from 20 to 50,000, but you don't feel that
No,
we
I
shouldn't
mean,
with this get
The
everything.
phase one was a lot more, because it's the first time we saw it. The phase two stuff, we already reviewed a portion, the stormwater design, the plat. I mean, I know there would be more going on, but it won't be like it was phase one, so.
No.
Phase one was multiple engineering reviews, and we actually reviewed the whole development, but there's some changes they made to phase two, where we may need to do some further review, like the updated plat and things like that, so. It shouldn't be too much more, so we put in enough cost, and we only do it as directed by the town, if Laura's like, well, can you please review this, then we'll review it, and then that's it. I don't think we're gonna exceed getting close to that limit, so, yeah.
Yeah, and then all of the stormwater plans for the entire subdivision were reviewed and approved, and now it's just a question of they've made small changes, so it won't be as extensive as the phase one.
But we're reimbursed for the whole thing.
Yeah, we're in reimbursed, so it
So it's
doesn't
just a
matter.
matter of approving him doing the work, right? Your
Exactly.
company do the work.
Yeah.
And that's something that is really important for the town to have
I will
done.
fully agree.
So you have that in your packet too?
make a motion, we approve the Strand Amendment number 1 to task order number 25-01.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by,
I'll second.
okay, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of the Strand Amendment number 1 to task order number 25-01, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Do you want me to just send you a copy in the mail? Will that
Yeah,
suffice?
yeah, you can just sign it and send the mail. We're good. Yeah.
Okay,
Yep, that's totally fine.
we will do that tomorrow.
Oh, sounds great.
Thank you for coming. And
Yeah, thank you. I
We
appreciate
appreciate
it. Nice
it.
to meet you
Thank
all
you.
too, yeah.
Thanks
Yeah.
for coming.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Yep.
Thank you, you
You too.
too. Happy holidays, too.
Yes.
He was here before.
Okay, we'll move on to number 9. Discussion and possible action on 2026 election inspectors.
So what are these two pictures?
That's pictures of the Probst farm. That has to do with what he was
Oh,
talking about.
this is of the whole farm.
Yeah, I was looking at him too, wondering.
I get it.
Okay, so you have in your packet the list of election officials. So we just need to approve.
You just need to approve them and say that you're okay with using the people that are on the list. There was only 2 that were added, and we're required to add them by, the Republican Party nominated 2 people that they wish to have added in here. It also shows you the wages that we pay the chief and the regular inspectors, that $15 an hour for the chief inspector, $13 an hour for a regular inspector. It also lists Laura and I down there at the bottom. The training hours are nothing you need to worry about, but they're things that we need to worry about over there on the side to make sure they have ample training to do this. So basically, we're just asking for you to say, yes, it's okay to use this list for next year's elections.
So it doesn't matter if some of them don't have the oath on file?
We will actually issue the oath to them when they come in for the first election, is my understanding. Of course, I haven't worked in an election before, but just in talking with Susan before she left, and in also looking at what's in the drawer, that will be issued to them when they come
That's
in.
when it gets done, okay.
Okay. And we've already approved their salaries, so that's
Right.
something that's established.
I'll make a motion, we approve the 2026 election inspectors.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor of approval of the 2026 election inspector, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. We will move on to number 10, discussion and possible action on resolution 2025-3, calculation of Class B licenses authorized to be issued by the town of Oakland. So you have that in there?
Yep.
Do you
So
wanna
did
go-
we find out any more about the wedding barns?
We did Laura and I both did some training on that, and I guess we will have to gather together a list of the barns and how they're going to enforce it exactly. I'm not 100% sure, but they have several hoops that they have to jump through in order to get the licensing. And if it's a public space, they have to do it. They have to either say that it's going to be no sale of alcohol, and there's one that's like a no sale permit that they could do, but then they're limited to like 1 activity per month and a maximum of, I think it's maybe 5 or 6 during the entire year. Otherwise, they have to get the regular permit, and again, it's based on whether it's a public space or not. If, say, I'm sorry.
We're kind of going off our agenda.
I'm sorry. This is the other
well,
girl. This one should come first. Do you have this one? The resolution? It might be right behind.
We're talking about liquor
Because we're doing
license.
the liquor licenses here first.
Oh,
And then the application.
But is that something, though, that we should be talking about
Well,
we-
it says we don't have any extra liquor licenses.
Yes, we would have to go over and above what this is,
And that's allowable.
and that's allowable.
Okay. That was why I
Also-
asked,
also-
because,
It also appears to be based off 1997 population.
but then it does say the population of the municipality as of December 1st,
They use the
2025.
1997 as like a base.
Let me see that. I don't think I have that in my packets.
Sure. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Okay, go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. This is the calculation that we had to go through. There's a base number and that was established by the state in 1997. And then we look at what the population is now, and you go through the calculations, there are A, B, C, and D, and you come up with an answer, and it tells you how many liquor licenses you're allowed to have. Class
Every
B.
500 more, you get
Yes,
another one.
you gain another one. This did not change from last year. But as Joy was saying with the wedding barn thing, if they need to have a liquor license because they are selling alcohol at the event, it would be one that would be allowable above and beyond our regular limit.
If it was a one-time, it's just a picnic license. Is that what?
I will have
Yeah,
to
that's
find
what
out
that
for
is.
sure. Okay.
Because
I don't
that's
know
a
how many.
brand-new thing.
It is a brand-new thing. So we just did a little bit of training on it, watched like a teleconference that was going on. And that's what they discussed, was the liquor. And there's lots of different nuances to it that it's going to be interesting to see how they're able to enforce it. But yes, it would go above and beyond. Since
Okay.
we have already used up all of our allotted liquor licenses, you have to
Correct.
go above that.
Okay.
But as far as the resolution goes, it's just you guys looking at it and saying, yes, this is correct, this is the amount of licenses that we have.
Yes, this is correct. I'll make a motion that we approve Resolution 2025-3, calculation of Class B liquor license.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. So move on then to what I had in my hand. Discussion and possible
Yes.
action on operator's license application for Brenna Gill.
Make a motion to approve Brenna Gill's application for operator's license.
I'll second it.
And you did the background check on her, everything was?
She filled this out. I was not told anything about doing a background check by Susan before we talked about it, but I can certainly do that.
Is that typical that we do that? Isn't that we usually do a check on?
And it might depend on, I have another girl over there that's pending, and she already has a license in another spot, and she showed me her card. I've got a copy of that. So maybe since she's certified to work in Jefferson already at a bar,
okay.
we don't have to. I don't know with this one for sure, but I will find out.
Okay, so,
Okay.
I don't think we do background checks.
I mean,
we
she
do
said
that?
she was
Oh, and
never
she said
arrested,
she
she's
works
never
at
had a
another place, too.
DWI.
Yeah.
I
Deerfield
mean, she's
Grill.
answered the
We
questions.
go by there and they're,
Right.
okay.
Yeah,
Right,
your
and
fourth
she's
right here,
she's had
or
a license.
or you'd like
Right,
to
and I
list.
see that now on
Okay.
the application. It says that, like, right here is where she
Okay.
says she's had one before.
Okay,
Now, if there was a problem with the form and there was a yes or something, I know we've done
Okay.
additional things.
right,
but
we've done that
wanted-
before,
right.
so that's why I just did it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So we
So
did
did
have a
we-
motion on the floor.
Yep.
I made it.
Jimmy made a motion and Joy seconded.
Okay, so all in favor of the operator's license application for Brenna Gill, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Discussion and possible action on resolution 2025-4 MSA building permit fee schedule. So last month, we approved MSA's proposal and the permit fees as well, but there were just a couple of items that had changed and a couple of items that we could talk about. So the first one is the second item under permits required. all residential building additions or remodels, alterations valued at 5,000 or greater. We can change this number if we want. So anybody who has a remodel over $5,000 would need to call MSA, and then they would go over what their project entailed, and then MSA would determine if any permits were needed with that. And so that's just a good way of going over everything. Under that, most likely you wouldn't need a permit. But we could change that to be higher or lower if we wanted. Originally it said 1,000, but they had suggested that we raise it to 5,000. So that was one of the items. Did anyone have any questions about that or have strong opinions on it?
You're just changing it from 1 to 5, is it?
Yes.
And what's the other change?
From what we approved last time, the admin fee was changed to 50. It was less than that. It was 25 to begin with. The next one that we should change is the re-roof / re-siding. So right now we have $7 for every $1,000 of value, but that turns out to be a very high number. And they actually do not go out and inspect for roofs. So we don't necessarily need to have a fee for this, since they don't need a permit and they're not going out. It's whether we decide if we want to understand what's happening around town and have them come out. If we would like to have people apply for a permit for re-roofing and re-siding, MSA has suggested we change to a flat fee between $60 to $120, or we can remove it altogether.
I'm fine with removing
I would remove it.
Okay.
That's maintenance.
Yes, that is, I
That's-
agree.
You don't charge for maintenance, for God's sake.
No, I agree.
He showed us one of the permits where
Or am
they
I
had
stupid?
put a metal
no,
roof on the
Right.
place, and
You're
yeah,
my-
it
Right.
was
my agreement.
huge.
Right, but it was
So
something we,
we take
Doesn't mean
that
I'll
off
change
of
the color of
this
your
then?
house.
Right. You know,
yes,
start
we can
charging for
remove it
painting now?
altogether. We can remove that altogether if we
I'm all
wanted
for
to.
it. Scratch it.
Yes. And then there was just a typo with alterations. It is correct at $0.035 per square foot. There was just a typo in there before. It was 0.35, but what we have in there is correct. And I just wanted to point out for the fire sign, it's just in here so that everyone knows that they will need to purchase a fire sign, but that is not something that we get through MSA. That is something that they have to apply for. They have to apply for the fire sign through the town itself, but it's just here as a notice. And so we won't put the fees here. We'll just keep it on our regular fee schedule.
It's really just going to happen as new bills, basically, anyhow.
Right, right. But that was the suggestion, just to have that on here for that reason. So I just wanted to point that out. Okay, so it sounds like we should keep the 5,000 as is, keep the admin fee, and then we will just delete the re-roofing, re-siding.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to that effect.
Okay.
I will second that.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor of Resolution 2025-04, building permits required and permit fees, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. We'll move on to discussion and possible action on ordinance 2025-73, creation of a code of ordinances. So this is what Laura Lowry had discussed at last month, and this is just the process. We discussed it last month, and now we have to discuss this again. And then approve it, this will need to go into the paper and be published, but after that, we will put this in the book of ordinances that we have on file in the town hall, and then with the creation of this ordinance, we won't need to put it in the newspaper after this, saving us quite a bit of money.
So this has been on, open for inspection since December 1st?
We have to get it into place first, but it will be as soon as you approve it. The book is in there, she's got the tabs set up. So anyone who wants to will be able to come in and look at it.
Because it's,
Well, maybe she has it set up back there. Well, I know she
She's-
has the tabs and everything now, but I
okay.
think we have to do this as the next step to say, hey, we're not going to publish this stuff.
This
anymore.
actually says open to public inspection in the office for a period of 2 weeks commencing December 1st.
And she does have the book back there
Okay,
with all the ordinances in it and the tabs. She had me order the tabs for her. No one is asked to come see it, but it is there.
okay. And she discussed it at our November meeting.
Right.
So people
Yes.
were aware of what we were doing.
Right.
And the other thing that she did say was until, because I think we have to publish this one, and that's the last one we publish, we have to, when you guys make the motion, say which chapter this will go into, as well as your ordinance regarding
Right.
the compost site.
Right.
And this
This
is
is
the
going to
chapter.
miscellaneous. So
Yes.
we have to approve this and then state, moving forward, we'll have to state what chapter the ordinances go in. So we would make a motion to approve this and then place it in chapter 25, miscellaneous.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2025-73, creation of code of ordinances.
Okay. To be placed in
Yeah.
chapter 25, miscellaneous.
Okay.
Okay?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of ordinance 2025-73, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. Motion carries. So now we will move on to 14, discussion and possible action on ordinance 2025-74 compost facility regulations. So at last month's meeting, we had a discussion on the compost and how we wanted to handle it. For now, we're not going to have the fence for this year. We thought that we could curb some of non-residents and contractors using the facility, as well as anyone placing, not approved materials into that, as well as monitoring the area to the north side of the building that is used, those materials are used solely for road projects. So Jeff and I met, we discussed what is allowed, what isn't allowed, and then came up with this ordinance per our discussion last month. So it has in here what can and cannot be put in the facilities for the hours of operations. It is just more vague so that over time, if we do get a fence or we decide to have it only open a certain amount of times, we can just change it on the sign. We don't need to redo the ordinance. We do talk that we do have surveillance cameras, which are in place right now. And then we also have included enforcement and penalties.
So this allows our police department to
Yes.
issue the tickets.
Yes.
I have a question about that. So then, if you read section 4, it talks about that. But can we add other jurisdictions also, or is it just Oakland Town can enforce it?
Oh,
Because it says just,
The
is
town-
authorized to enforce the provisions. Can others, like Jefferson County, also enforce it?
the
In case
town-
they're not here and there's a violation, can we call
Okay.
I just would like to open that language some, other than just Oakland Police Department.
I get you.
Why don't we just say police department?
I-
Or,
it's my understanding, because I thought it was because it is the town ordinance that it would have to be the town.
It has to be?
police.
As soon as you limit it to just residents, it should be covered by the town, Oakland Police.
Mhm.
So if they're not around, then,
They can still
Well,
go
we
out
can
and
call.
we can call them and we could have them issue it. Most likely, we may, most likely we wouldn't even know unless we look at the surveillance,
That's probably going to be something that happens after the fact, I
Right.
would
Right.
assume.
Right, so then.
And we're not going to probably get, the county's not going to want to spend.
They're not gonna wanna
they're
be
not gonna
involved.
They're not going to send their people to enforce our,
No, I don't
law.
believe so,
I doubt.
yeah.
I
what do
doubt.
they,
And it's
what do they
probably-
do?
Because
What
they're
do they
really
do?
not breaking any law that Jefferson County.
Right.
is
Right.
Jefferson County's.
So what do they do if let's say we didn't have a police department locally? We just didn't have these guys, then how would our ordinances be enforced?
Then we'd have to change the ordinance. We'd probably have to get a fence up and do it and just control it without
Mhm.
law enforcement. I don't see us not having we've had a law enforcement
Right.
here since I've been here.
Right.
That's 66 years. Well, I was gone for quite a few years. There's always been if it wasn't a law enforcement, there was a constable.
Right, and the constable would
Yeah.
be in charge.
Okay, that's
Oh,
question.
this is perfect timing.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
There you go.
Chief
Chase-
Leonard,
Chase our scrappers
um,
around.
so we are talking about the ordinance for compost facility regulations and issuing penalties and enforcement if somebody violates our ordinance for that. So we have in here, the Town of Oakland Police Department is authorized to
Do you want to
enforce.
see how it's written? No, not right now. Okay.
And so Jimmy's question is, what if somebody from the police department is not here at the time? Do we call Jefferson County? Would they be able to issue?
they cannot?
Jefferson County will not issue town ordinance citations to people that violate our ordinance. It would have to come from the police department.
Okay.
So in that case, if that would happen, you can always just leave email for us at the police department, email like mine or Tom's, and then they can follow up on it and issue appropriately.
Okay.
As long as there's a town
We thought-
ordinance enacted, that gives us that power to issue for that violation.
Okay, perfect.
Answer my question, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Did anyone else have any questions?
Nope.
I just wanted to say too that Jeff and I reviewed the town website, and some of the information is obviously not about the penalties, but some of the information of what you can put in there is buried in one of the tabs, and we talked about adding all of this information once the ordinance was approved. We would put on the tab on the side where we have, you can click on for agendas and meeting minutes and so forth. Put it there so people can see it easily. It'll have the information of which you can add to it, not the whole ordinance, but then have a link that would go to the ordinance section of the website. So it would be clear for people to understand what they can and cannot do.
Okay.
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 Make a full motion that we approve the ordinance 2025-74 compost facility regulations.
Oh, second.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor of ordinance number 2025-74, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay,
You have to make a motion,
Oh.
or put it into the right chapter. though.
okay, sorry.
That's okay.
Um,
Again, the miscellaneous chapter.
Okay, so we have
I'd like to amend the motion to add that it needs to go into chapter 25.
Okay,
I'll second the amendment.
okay. All in favor of going into the approving and then placing it in the miscellaneous chapter? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. This too will need to be published, I believe, Laura said, and then after that, we will not need to publish
Right.
again.
Right.
Okay, let's move on to appointment of planning committee members for the 2026 to 2028 term. We did have a few people apply, and I called everyone and talked to them, and I included in here 2 bios, the people that
Yep.
I would like to appoint. It is Jeff Bouchard and Courtney Reed Jenkins. I think they would do a really great job. They have very good backgrounds, and I think they would be an asset to the committee.
Who's coming off the committee?
Brad Koenig and Joe Pleshek.
I'm glad we have a country person, because right now we don't.
No, you're right, and I was very excited when he applied. He was the only one that was out of the lake area. But I think that's a bonus, but I think overall he's a great candidate.
Okay.
Okay, I'll make a, do we need a motion? Or how does that work?
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we accept the appointments of the Planning Commission as stated.
I'll second that.
Second that? Okay, all in favor of the appointment, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. I will reach out to them. Okay, so we'll move on to the appointment of the Cable Committee members. Tom and Joy have been members of it, but on file, your appointments have expired. So I would like to appoint the 2 of you again, if you so choose, as well as David Drews.
I'll second.
About an 8 o'clock meeting at Cambridge.
Well, Melissa said that's going to be rescheduled.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, the one that was happening this Friday is being rescheduled at request of the Cambridge
Okay.
members.
Glad you told us that. I would have been.
I assume someone will get in contact with you guys about it. I hope, because I know the village president was talking with Gary. But I think they got to coordinate a date yet. I have not been told about any new dates yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So are all 3 of you then good with continuing on the committee?
Do you accept
Sure.
that, David?
I guess, I don't know what it is,
It's
but
not much.
I'll go for
No.
it.
Okay.
Once a year, maybe, for
Okay.
10 minutes.
I could do that.
It's a committee shared between Oakland and Cambridge. It only meets really as needed.
Okay.
So who made the motion? Jimmy, you seconded, but who made the
I
motion?
guess I did.
Oh, okay.
Well, we're
Yeah,
giving
but-
you an out if you need an out. Nope, okay.
Did you-
All right, so all in favor of the Cable Committee members, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? All right, we'll keep you posted on the next date. So the Enbridge update, there is not much to tell. They do their 4th quarter sampling of the surface water, the private wells, and the monitoring wells right at the site. They did that in December, so the results have not been submitted to Enbridge. It takes a couple of weeks to get the results back, and then they have a little bit of time to submit it to the DNR. So next month, we should have that, and I can keep you posted on the results of that. They have continued to collect the free product out of the riser pipes right near the spill location, and as of mid-November, that's the last report that was submitted, they have collected 754 gallons out of there. And then they have not submitted yet their site inspection report that would encompass everything that's happened on their site since the beginning, or the SVE, soil labor extraction pilot study, the complete one, and then the new design. They are not out of compliance with that. The DNR expects that Enbridge will submit that in the beginning of 2026. And I think after they submit that site investigation report, I think that I will, if everyone's in favor, I will ask Enbridge to come for him, just to recap what has happened in the last year and where it all stands.
Good idea.
But otherwise, there's really nothing else to report for that.
And if you do wish that update to be recorded, feel free to email me or Gary.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to approval of disbursements.
I'll make a motion, we approve disbursements beginning with electronic funds transferred to the Wisconsin Retirement System through and including check number 1761 to the Wisconsin Chief of Police in the aggregate amount of $114,357.72.
There, 1 second. This was a posting error on my part. I fully take responsibility for it. Workforce unfortunately will not let me move a posting date. So this first electronic funds transfer down to the bottom here are the first set of checks for the $41,520.96. Then starting with check 1731 over here on this other page, these are the ones that all got posted to the wrong date, which won't affect our book closing any. She said as long as I posted November instead of December. It was an error. So grand total is $155,878.70, starting with the electronic funds transfer and then going through check 1761.
Okay, ask what she said.
What she said. Okay, we have a motion for what she said. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor of disbursement, say aye.
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 I
Opposed?
think when we first went to workforce, the first report we got was divided like this. Remember that?
And she told me, she goes, well, how many checks did you run? And I said there were 31. And the only way to fix it is to reverse all 31 of those checks and then turn around and put them back in again. And she said if they're okay with you running 2 reports, just run the 2 reports. It would make much more sense to do that.
Yeah, that's fine. I think that's fine.
We'll work the bugs out of everything
Yes,
soon
we
enough.
will.
No worry about that. So, announcements. Bug Tussle is a rural internet company, and they've been working in partnership with Jefferson County, and they've just placed a line that extends through the eastern part of Oakland, and they will be having a press event here on Thursday, this Thursday, the 18th at 1 p.m. Everyone is welcome to come. It's not our meeting, it's just theirs. But I will be there. I think some of the supervisors will be attending, and members of the county, and Representative Joan Fitzgerald as well will be here. So everyone's welcome to come, but it's very exciting that in the more rural areas of the town, they will be able to get high-speed internet now. So it's very exciting.
Good.
Yeah. I don't have any other announcements, did you?
Just that all the tax bills are out and done on time, and we're starting to get lots of people coming in and wanting to pay them, so.
Good.
It's going well.
Good. Good, thank you for doing
Yeah,
that.
thank
It's a
you
lot
for
of
all
work.
It is a lot of work.
Okay, move on to correspondence.
There is none.
There is none? Okay, that's easy. So our next meeting date is January 20th, 2026. And then,
My birthday, I'll bring cupcakes.
Okay.
Oh.
Oh.
what a way to spend your birthday here.
Don't have a lot of choice in that matter. but it is
Well, we
what it is.
appreciate it.
So on recent agendas, we've always had a future agenda item.
What would you like us?
That's just an item at the end.
Yeah, it got missed
just,
here,
it
I
just
think.
got missed.
At the bottom.
Yeah, we'll have to make sure we put that on the
Yep,
next one.
that's not a problem. I already have an item for next month's agenda.
Okay. All
And
right.
Laura had mentioned that
The solar.
the solar company would possibly be here next month to do a
Yeah,
report.
They confirmed today that they were going to come.
Okay, good.
All right, I will write that down for not only to put the future agenda on there, but also the solar
And not
farm.
saying, I know that Laura Lowry's been working on the ordinances, so when that's finished, I want to get back into the short-term rental ordinance discussion as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I know there's people that are in the community that are chomping at the bit for something.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. We'll keep a running tab of
Yep, I've
things.
got one.
Okay, so we'll move on then to convene into, so I'll make a motion for this, to convene into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statutes 19.85 1E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons required a closed session. Intergovernmental agreement regarding franchise fees. So we'll have to, do I have to have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, so then we'll have to do a roll call vote.
Supervisor Drews? Supervisor Jensen?
Yes.
Chairman Payne?
Yes?
Supervisor Graffin?
Aye. Yes.
Supervisor DeGidio?
Yes.
Okay, so let's